We've actually entered right now the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. If you could, Imam Zaid, tell us a little bit about the virtues of this time that we've entered right now.
Right. These days, and even many Muslims, I think, are unaware of the magnitude and significance of these days. Our Prophet, he said in one of his traditions related by Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, who both were companions, ما من أيام العمل الصالح فيها أحب إلى الله من هذه الأيام يعني أيام العشر. قالوا يا رسول الله ولا الجهاد في سبيل الله؟ قال ولا الجهاد في سبيل الله إلا رجل خرج بنفسه وماله ثم لم يرجع من ذلك بشيء. So, and this tradition is rigorously authenticated, related by Imam al-Bukhari. So, the Prophet said in this tradition, if we can endeavor to render it into English, there are no days of the year in which righteous deeds done during them are more beloved to Allah than these days, referring to the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. They said, not even struggling in the way of Allah, O Messenger of Allah. He said, not even struggling in the way of Allah or in the way of God, except one type of struggle, and that is the struggle of a man who goes forth with his life and his wealth and returns with neither. So a man who loses his life and all of his wealth struggling in the way of God, only that action, generally speaking, is better than in its reward than the deeds done during these days. So this is a tremendous opportunity that God has opened up for us to do tremendous good for our soul, to store up a treasure of good deeds to be waiting for us when we move on to the next life. So we should not neglect the magnitude of these days. Now, amongst the things that magnify them further is that Allah Ta'ala swears by these days, and Allah in the Quran only swears by things of tremendous significance and import. So he says, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ, I swear by the dawn and by the 10 nights. And these are the 10 nights of these first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah in the strongest opinions. Another, or the strongest opinion rather, another thing that calls our attention to the virtues of these days is that these days contain the day of Arafah, the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah, and they contain what's referred to as Yawm al-Nahr, or the day of sacrifice, the 10th of Dhul-Hijjah. Both of these days are of tremendous import, especially the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah. The 9th of Dhul-Hijjah is the only day, individual day, that the reward for fasting this day, and it's a voluntary fast, but we encourage all Muslims to undertake this fast, is that it atones for the sins of the previous and the coming year. And those are the lesser sins that the servant commits, the Saghair. This day is also sworn by in several different places in the Quran. So, for example, many of the exegetes mention that the verse in the Quran, وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْمَوْعُودِ وَالشَّاهِدِ وَمَشْهُودِ. So, the witness and that which is witnessed. The shahid is the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah, Yawm al-Arafah, and according to the strongest opinions, and the mashhood is the day of Jumu'ah, Shahid wal Mashhood. And last year, these 2 days actually coincided with each other, and I think we mentioned this at the time. Also, there are other places where these days are mentioned. وَيَذْكُرُ اللَّهُ فِي الْأَيَّامِ مَعْلُومَاتِ. The Ayyam Ma'lumat, the well-known days, are these 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. So there are many, many references to these days. The wal-fajr wal-layal ashr wal-shaf'i wal-watr. The Shafi'i mentioned in this verse is Yawm al-Arafah. So there are many, many, many indications as to the import of these days. So it's very virtuous to fast these days, and especially so for the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah, the day that's identified as the day of Arafah. It's especially virtuous to fast the 9th of Dhul-Hijjah. The 10th is forbidden to fast because that's the day of Eid for those of us who have not gone on the pilgrimage. But the entire 10 have their virtue. So again, these are very, very significant days. There are many, many indications of their significance. I'll mention one other concerning the day of Arafah. This is the day where Allah Ta'ala liberates more people from the hellfire than any other day. And those people liberated from the hellfire, all of them deserve to be punished. And they're liberated. And the day that rivals this is the last night of Ramadan. And it's said that Eid al-Fitr is a celebration of those who have been liberated from the hellfire during Ramadan, and Eid al-Adha is a celebration for those who have been liberated from the hellfire on the day of Arafah. So this is a blessed time. It's a time whose sanctity we should elevate and exalt as Muslims. It's a time we should not be negligent. It's a time for us to turn away from our worldly pursuits. So the Qur'ans that we put on the shelves the last night of Ramadan, let's take those Qur'ans off the shelves. Let's reattach ourselves to the Qur'an, and let's renew our enthusiasm for dhikr and for night prayer. Let's try to stay up some of these nights in worship. And again, these are the reward for this, for these acts during these days are greater than the reward for similar acts done at any other time of the year. So these are just some things related to these first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah.